I was raised on a ranch, grew up in Powell Butte, Oregon. I started riding when I was probably 2 years old by myself. And since then, it's just progressed pretty rapidly from there. I started rodeoing when I was probably 5 or 6 years old and haven't quit yet. When I was a little itty bitty kid, I kind of set my mind to the fact that anything I wanted to do horseback, I've done it and I can do it. And I'll do it till I get it right. My folks, it didn't matter to them that they had daughters and that they didn't have boys, because we did all the same work. I could do anything. I drove tractor, gathered cattle, loaded trucks, anything. Anything that my dad did, I did, and my sisters as well.
They're living on these ranches, they are working with their fathers, they handle the horses, and why can't they compete? And they see themselves on the ranches doing just as much as the men. Why can't they do that in the rodeo as well?
And so these girls were riding astride, and that was very, very the proper ladies didn't think much of that. And that alone, the fact that these women were riding astride and were wearing clothes that were a little different, was really a mark of a cowgirl. And any girl that would get herself into that garb was beyond the pale. The proper ladies didn't approve.
It was a warm July morning in the summer of 1904 when 21-year-old Bertha Kaepernick boarded the train in Sterling, Colorado for the 8th annual Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo. Ever since she was a child growing up on the plains of eastern Colorado, Bertha had heard the distant whistle of the Burlington train as it began the early morning milk run. The whistle would echo through the rolling farmland and pastures that made up the Platte River Valley as the train made its way from Sterling, past her parents' farm, to Cheyenne, Wyoming, 100 miles to the north. In 1870, Bertha's parents, Wilhelm and Frederica, had emigrated from Germany to Cleveland, Ohio, with their sons Frank and William. In Cleveland, Frederica gave birth to 2 daughters, Minnie in 1880 and Bertha in 1883. By Bertha's 3rd birthday in 1886, her parents had moved to Atwood, Colorado, joining a number of other German immigrant families who traveled west to try their hands at farming near the Platte River. The family chose to homestead 160 acres near the new town site of Atwood, just over the rolling hills that block the view of the river valley. Bertha grew up in the wide open West, and though she was not aware of it, she was offered experiences and opportunities far beyond those her childhood friends enjoyed back east in Cleveland. Among her first, riding a horse and working with her father and brothers.
Well, there is a story that her father put her on a horse when she was 3 years old, and they were bringing cattle in and she had to watch a gate. And he told her not to get off the horse because there was no way she could get back on.
Bertha later wrote that her father eventually took all the docile horses away to prevent his little 7-year-old from riding them. She instead switched to riding the family's young dairy calves, and later took to catching and riding wild colts from nearby ranches.
Her and her brothers would buck out the calves when their parents would go to town. They would corner them in the corral and buck the calves out, but that wasn't enough bucking for her. She'd like to ride the bucking horses.
Over the years, she developed quite a local reputation for her ability to ride a bucking horse.